Oh, grace and peace. My bad. Had the microphone muted. As you guys can see, I am trying to set this thing up. This this new stream that I got going on, and I'm just trying to get used to everything. And all right, so I'm now streaming from Restream now, which is a little bit cheaper, and I think that StreamYard may have a couple of things, may have some things better than StreamYard. I'm sorry, StreamYard may have some things that's better than Restream. Like right now, I'm trying to find out how can I stream in the portrait and landscape version on YouTube, but I'm only seeing the YouTube landscape version showing up. I don't see the portrait one. I may have to check my cell phone here. So this particular stream that I'm doing right now, I'm trying to find out how can I get my chats and stuff working. I'm only showing my landscape version streaming, but I don't see my portrait version streaming right now. So I don't know. I got to try to see what's going on with that. So I'm gonna be doing that on this stream, but I'm also going to be uh I'm also going to be going over a video that I saw from what's the guy's name? Reason, Voice of Reason. The Catholic voice, the Catholic guy with the voice like this. He's talk like Sylvester Stallone. So I saw a video from him earlier where he attended a megachurch. All right, so he attended a megachurch, and apparently he liked it. From what I see, and we're gonna go ahead and watch the video. I don't know if this is a ploy, because how I got turned on to this was because there was a another Roman Catholic who posted it on X, and they said it seems like that Voice of Reason is trying to, I guess, find another outlet or another source to be able to put out his media or to be able to put his stuff out there, some other platforms, because he's we all know what happened with him. He had a little incident. Well, I won't say it was a little incident. It was a incident that he had with a girl, and now people are just like, yo, we don't even know if we really want to deal with this guy, especially those in the Roman Catholic community. So a lot of people think that he's probably doing this for publicity. I don't know. We're going to try to get into that. And as you guys come in, go ahead and hit this like button. All right. Hit the like button and the notification bell if you are a new subscriber. So like I said, I'm going to be trying to work this stuff out. I'm going to try to work this stuff out to see how I can get all of this stuff integrated with Restream. So I'm not saying that I'm having too hard of a time, but that's the thing about me. I don't like change. All right. I don't like change. So when I start changing and switching stuff all the way up, this is what happens. But once I get everything sorted out, figured out, I think I should be good after that. So like I said, I'm trying to get used to some of this stuff, because like with StreamYard, I was able to see how many people were watching from each platform. But on here, let me see something. It just shows that I'm streaming. Let me check my Rumble, because it says, I don't know, I'm getting like an error code from my Rumble. I should be good. So you already have an active, okay, check your Rumble live stream here. No, it says that I'm on. It says that I am on, so I don't know why it's not showing up on Rumble. That's kind of weird. That is kind of weird. I have no idea, but I don't know. We gonna try to figure it out. We're gonna try to work it out And I got to see why it's not showing up in portrait either. If I got to pay some more money or what. Because listen, I ain't trying to spend no more money. I mean, I'll cancel Restream and go back to StreamYard if I have to. You know, don't play with me. I'll go back to StreamYard. I got about 15 days until I can cancel StreamYard. All right, I'll just go back to just having a struggle streams. You know, because I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling. Bruh. All right, let me see if I can pull this up. All right, let me see if I can pull this up because, oh, let me see. We got a window capture here. Nope. Hold on one second. Trying to see if I can share this. Check this out real quick. What are we looking at? We're gonna try to go to YouTube. Don't go to YouTube. Nope, not that. Not that. Well, let's do this. Let's open up another window. And I'll just play it from this one right here. All right. Not this account. Let's switch this account. Let's go to this one. All right. Give me 1 second as I pull this up. See, it's the type of stuff. See, I done tweaked StreamYard. See, I went through all of this with StreamYard. And I finally got it right. But now with this whole restream thing, man, I got to try to figure all of this out. All right, so here we go, right here.
I'm a Protestant and
All right, so I know y'all probably heard that, all right? So what we're going to do, let's blow this up real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and transition over to here. And we are going to see what we can do. Y'all type of 1 if y'all can hear this. I'm pretty sure y'all can hear it. And like, for instance, I can't even see my chat. And that's another thing that I'm trying to do as well. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my chat.
I'm a Protestant and I...
Hold on 1 second. Nope. So I'm going to have to do it like this. So I may have to take, whatever. Let's just go on with this. All right, let's just go with this. All right, so for you guys, if you can see this this video, I don't know who this guy is, but apparently he is. It seems like he's a little bit of, it's like charismatic or something like that, and he decided that he was going to take Alex, and I don't know who this other guy is, but apparently he's Roman Catholic as well. He decided he was going to take them to a couple of his churches, Protestant churches. And like I said, I think that they are more like your Pentecostal, charismatic type churches. So he decided to take them there. And I think that this is around Christmas. So this may have been done about a week or so ago. And we're going to see how it all plays out. All right. We're going to see how all of this play out. Let me go ahead and try to get the, the playback speed. All right. We're going to try to get the playback speed about 1.25 so we can kind of get through this a little quicker. All right. Fair use.
I'm taking my Catholic friends to mega churches for the first time. So first we're gonna check out my church, which is City Light Church in Las Vegas. And then I'm gonna take them to another church that is very controversial here in Las Vegas.
I do think it was too much. The theatrics were definitely off-putting.
So you've never been to a Protestant church before. What are your expectations?
I'm expecting to see an altar with incense and a priest and liturgical vestments. So we'll see if it lives up to the hype.
Well, I'm just very excited to venerate the icons, prostrate before the tabernacle, and hopefully, if Father has time, I can go to confession before the liturgy starts. I'm very excited to be here, and I can't wait to see.
You don't feel comfortable raising your hands in church, right?
Raising my hands and clapping and singing, that's not my thing.
What I'm hoping for is for you.
I don't know, it seemed like he was clapping those hands and singing then. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get back to it.
You to have a experience with the Holy Spirit where you raise your hand, clap, sing. All right, let's go in.
All right, we gotta do the sign of the cross before we go in.
Glory to Jesus Christ, now forever.
Amen. Going into the church service, honestly, I was very nervous. I really wanted them to have a good experience, and I wasn't sure if they were going to actually participate. So I was actually surprised. So there were times where they looked like they were enjoying the service, and then other times where it was a little bit awkward. So during a typical church service for Protestants, there's usually singing and worship in the beginning, and then the pastor goes up and does a sermon.
The gospel is a message for the naughty, for the messed up, for the sinner. You can't even receive the gospel until you have settled the fact that you need the gospel.
Yeah. So like I said, this seems like more like one of your contemporary, charismatic type churches. Yeah, you can see those guys. They were out there praising, worshiping, singing. out there with the charismatics. All right. Grace of peace, grace of peace. Now, see, here's the thing. I can see you guys' comments, but for some reason they're not popping up in my little chat thing down here. So I don't know what's up with that, but that's all right. I'm gonna try to fix all of that in a minute. All right. Fall of Rome says, so Voice of Reason is back in a ministerial position. Apparently so. But only on, what do you call it? What's the name of that platform? Patreon, right? So he's back on Patreon, and I covered this on one of my morning shows. First, he was, everything happened between him and the alleged 14-year-old girl. They sat him down for a minute, and he came back maybe about like last month, and it was like, okay, they said that he's going to be doing more content, but it's only going to be on Patreon, right? And just like on my morning show, I'm like, okay, you are not going to be sat all the way down, but the only way that people can be able to see you and listen to what you got to say is if you go on a streaming service where you got to pay money. All right. So, which was really, really weird to me. It's just like, is he disqualified or is he not? So what's happening now is he is at this megachurch or this Pentecostal charismatic church. And he's still got his social media presence. He's still out there with his social media. I'm sorry, I wouldn't say that his social media, but he's showing up. It seems like on different platforms. He's showing up and he's doing interviews. He's showing up on other people's videos like this one here. And now people are wondering, okay, like what's really going on here? Also at the same time, a lot of Catholics are not riding with this. And this is how I found out about this video, because a person posted this on X and they were just like, what is this guy doing? Like, who is this bishop? Who is this priest that's allowing him to go out and do stuff like this? And then now he's, on these platforms where he's showing up, at Pentecostal churches and all of this stuff. So it just looks really, really weird. It just looks really, really weird. All right, let's continue. Fair use.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever would believe, not earn, believe, not try, believe.
After that, they do an altar call. So that's pretty much a call to see if people want to give their life to Christ. And then after that, they do more worship. And also, guys, if you guys are enjoying this video, give this video a like and subscribe. Maybe show my wife some love in the comments. She looks great right there. What was your reaction to the first church we went to?
First of all, I want to thank you for taking us to your church so we can see how you worship every Sunday. I was actually really impressed by the production value, the singing. You can tell that the people worshiping in there are sincere and they're good Christians, good believers. The overall experience, I would say, was positive.
Okay.
But I was a little disappointed because you said that there was no communion that day.
Oh, yeah.
And I really wanted to see, how do you guys do communion and why is it not every Sunday? That would be my question.
Something my man said, the talent.
Okay, so now we do communion at my church every Sunday and whenever we get together. All right. Now I don't think that is, let me choose my words carefully. I would say, me personally, if it was up to me, I would do the Lord's Supper every time, or what we call communion. I would do it every time that we meet because I believe that it is a command. You know, just like Jesus said, do this in remembrance of me as often as you get together. So whenever you guys get together, you know, we should be partaking in the Lord's Supper. All right. Fall of Rome says, I guess I'm from a different era, where if you've done that, not only do you confess and turn away from sin, but you also take time away from ministry for a multitude of reasons. Yeah. It's just like this guy, who was I guess he was an author, and it seems as if he was caught I wouldn't say he was caught. He admitted to having an 8-year relationship with another married woman. All right. So, and you know, he's being sat down. Like, for instance, Steve Lawson, another guy that we could talk about, who was caught in adultery, allegedly. I still don't think that I know the details of that case, but allegedly he was with some young girl or something like that. Some girl who was, you know, like in her 20s. He's like in his 60s or 70s or something like that. So allegedly he was in a relationship with this young woman. They sat him down, and I think he still sat down. I don't think that anyone is you know, allowing him to speak or teach at their church at all. All right. So, but Rome, just like you say, there is a protocol, and I think that there needs to be a protocol. You know, that there needs to be a protocol, especially when there are serious allegations like this popping up.
They have at your home church, bro. Especially the gentleman, like the lead singer. That has to be one of the most amazing singing voices I've ever heard in my life. It was fantastic.
Would you go again?
I would, yeah.
There we go. Would you go again?
I wouldn't.
Oh, no. But it's okay. We'll talk about it later. But yeah.
I do want to make it clear, because I said that what was taking place was worship. I know Catholics and Orthodox are going to get on me for saying that. The Protestant experience, I would call it incomplete worship. I do believe you're worshiping, you're singing, you're praising, you're praying. I believe you're sincere in your worship and the intent.
Yeah.
For us, we don't believe that there's a complete worship without a sacrifice. So I do want to make that clear.
For me, I got emotional because I was just filled with gratitude. And also I was praying for you guys, and I was really thinking about you guys a lot, because you guys have gone through a season, and Jabin was kind of talking about stuff like that.
I felt it. When he was talking about it, I felt it.
Yeah.
There was things that he said that resonated with me, with what I've been through this year, what we've been through this year. We appreciate the prayer.
Yeah,
man. Thank you
for
so
sure.
much.
I love you guys.
I love you too, brother. Thank you for having us.
For sure. So now we're at Central Church, which is actually the biggest church in Las Vegas. What are your first initial thoughts?
Bro, they got a coffee shop. How many of you guys go to a church with a coffee shop in it? All right. Type of one if you go to a church with a coffee shop. All right. Let's not judge. Let's hear him out. All right, fair use.
I really don't know what to expect here. I didn't know if I should bring my drink. I was like, oh, I shouldn't bring my drink to the church. It wouldn't be respectful. And then I remembered it's a Protestant church. So.
This would be the cathedral. This is humongous.
Wait, I'm kind of expecting like the pastor to come in like on a...
If he doesn't come in on a zip line, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Let's see if you like it or if you have problems with it.
All right,
Let's do it.
So the first thing that I noticed walking into this church is how big it is. There are thousands of people that go to this church. Right from the beginning, you could tell that this was not a typical church service. They had animals on stage. They had women climbing ropes, climbing up to the ceilings. They had...
Now here's the thing. I remember when I first started out in the faith, I was going to a megachurch. All right. I was going to a megachurch, and I think that that's one of the things that kind of turned me off was a lot of the theatrics and all of that stuff. And it didn't really feel personal. You know what I'm saying? It just really felt like it was kind of forced, you know, and it didn't really feel genuine. And at the same time, it didn't seem like that I was like really growing I wasn't really growing in my faith. There was just like so much stuff going on around in the church. I was just like, man, I just wish that I could learn a lot more than what I'm learning now, because it just seems like that the messages were just so repetitive. You know, it was just every single Sunday, It was the same old message. You know, God got a blessing for you. You about to get your blessing. You just hold on. You going through all of this stuff, but don't worry. God gonna give you something. Just keep on hanging on in there. You know. And I was just like, man, there's just so much more going on. Uh-oh. I like that I'm frozen. Yeah, see, you know what? This type of stuff, I think I'm just gonna have to. I don't know. I'm about to give up on this whole restream thing. Well, hold on, let me see. I'm frozen on restream, but I'm looking at YouTube. I don't know. It looks like that I'm still good on YouTube. Yeah, it looks like I'm still good on YouTube. I don't know why restream just paused. Let me see if I can refresh restream. Something going on with that. I don't know. As long as I'm still streaming, I'm good. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back to this. Fair use.
Choreographic dances, but to give this church some grace, it was a holiday special. So I don't think this happens on a normal Sunday. So then they went into worship, and then the pastor went up to give a word, and it was very accurate and very good.
My loneliest years were when I was in middle school and high school. And sometimes we feel that way. We feel invisible at work. We can feel invisible in our own family. Some of you today may feel invisible even at the holiday dinner table with people that you're related to. But here's the good news. You are not invisible to God. You're not invisible to God because nobody is too small for God. And so God sees you. He loves you. You are created in his image. And if you will believe in Jesus and follow him in your life, he can give you purpose and significance and meaning. Nobody is too small for God.
I mean, he's right. You know, I'm not really going to critique that small little piece, but, you know, that's kind of the preaching that you'll get, you know, whenever you're at one of those big churches, those big mega churches. And I do understand where Catholics and Orthodox are coming from, especially when they say it just feels like whenever you go to these churches, this is a TED talk. You know, it's almost like some motivational speaking or something that's happening where someone comes out, they tell you what you want to hear, and then, you know, you're there for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then, you know, you're back home. So I do understand that. But the problem is that they will paint this as all Protestant churches. And this is not all Protestant churches. All right. This is just some of some Protestant churches. Unfortunately, one too many. It's a lot of, you know, quote unquote Protestant churches that are like this. But I think that since we do have a significant amount of these churches, we can't pin it and say that this is all Protestants, you know, that this is all Protestant churches, because that's the beauty about our customs as Protestants, is that, you know, we do things differently depending on different churches. And there's nothing wrong with that, because people have different backgrounds. They have different cultures. People have different languages, things of that nature. Grace and peace, Sister Kanisha, my first supporter up in the chat. So, Sister Kanisha, I'm just, you know, I will put your name up there, but I can't because I'm trying to figure all of this stuff out. Trying to figure out, you know, with all of this new software, how can I be able to get the comments and all of that stuff? All right. So, but, you know, different churches operate differently. Okay. So it's just not one particular church or all Protestant churches do that or operate like this. You see what I'm saying? So, but anyway, let's get back to it. Let's stop my babble and kind of get back to this.
Let's see what the Catholics say. What was your honest reaction to the megachurch, the second one?
I was being nice at first with your church.
Okay.
But this church, I had to take a pause, and I do think it was too much. The theatrics were definitely off-putting. The sermon was actually good, though.
That was a little wild, but let me tell you, that sermon, bro,
Oh!
that sermon was fire. There were no errors in that sermon. He brought, like, no errors. He actually mentioned certain things, certain details that most people skip over when they read it, like
Yeah.
the nativity,
Yeah.
the account of the nativity from the Gospels. The pastor did an excellent job teaching, an excellent job presenting the gospel. It was beautiful. The one thing that we both found a little disappointing is that at neither church, for the Christmas service, They did not have a communion service at either of the evangelical churches. Now, you know how the Catholic Church's position
Yeah.
stands on the validity.
And in a way, I do agree with him on that. Yeah, they should have had the Lord's Supper or the communion service. You know what I'm saying? And not just because these guys are Roman Catholic or whatever, and we need to try to acquiesce to what they're doing. But I do think that when we do have communion, or whenever we get together, that we should be partaking in the Lord's Supper. All right. I really believe that is very important for us as believers. That isn't something that we should just skip or just, casually just say, you can do it if you want, you don't have to do it, but, if you want to do it, that's okay. If you don't, no, I think that we have to understand the importance of the Lord's Supper and of the blood and body of Christ. Why was his body broken and why was his blood spilled for us on our behalf for our sin? It just sounds like, we say that all the time and it just sounds just something that we all just say and that we all believe. It's just kind of like this Christianese, right? We can all just say, yeah, Christ died for us, his body was broken and all of that stuff. But do we really understand that? You see what I'm saying? Because there's so many people that I know who call themselves Protestant that they can kind of tell you what the gospel is, but I don't think that they really know what the gospel is. So I have a lot of issues, of course, with people who promote like false doctrines, cults, other groups, of course, Roman Catholics and Orthodox doctrinally, not just because they claim to be Orthodox and Roman Catholic, but when it comes to the doctrine, there's a lot of problems that I have with the doctrine. But I also do see that there are problems within our own backyard that we need to try to clean up as well, because some of this stuff is important. And just because we're Protestants and people are Roman Catholics and they got some doctrines and stuff out there to where we're just like, I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard to defend that if you call yourself a Christian. But at the same time, there's a lot of beliefs and there's a lot of things that we lack that I think that us as Christians, whether or not, you call yourself Protestant, Orthodox, whatever, there's a lot of people who are inconsistent when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to the doctrines and how we should practice and how we should express our faith. All right, let's watch the last couple of minutes of this, and I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to throw the link out there, and we're just going to have a conversation while I'm trying to figure out some of this stuff with all of this new software that I got. All right, fair use.
Of the Eucharist in Protestant churches.
Yeah.
We would have liked to have just seen how the evangelical churches carry out the distribution of communion,
Yeah.
especially for a Christmas service.
What can the Catholics learn from the Protestant church?
Specifically from the churches that we went to, I don't know, because I do think that there's a tendency in the Protestant world to look like the culture, to win over the culture. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good strategy. In my opinion, I feel like the church should be a spiritual oasis, a refuge, an escape from the world. So when it looks like the world, it's not as appealing to people. It ends up having the opposite effect.
The one thing that I can
Hey,
think
listen,
of,
I'm not gonna lie, and that's one of the issues that I had whenever I went to like these mega churches. And that's a problem that I still have with the Protestant church. I've always been vocal about that. Okay, you can watch some of my old videos. I've always been vocal about churches that try to look like the world, but it's like, why are you trying to act like the world and look like the world when we're supposed to be set apart? You see what I'm saying? So just like Rome says, it's a good point. Yeah, and that's just, I've always stood 10 toes down on that. I don't think that we need to be looking like the world, because what attracted me to, especially the church that I go to now, was that they did things different. I'm talking about way different. All right. We were doing communion, and we still do communion every Sunday. some of the, a lot of the teachings that were being taught was just what totally different from what I was hearing. I was being convicted of my sin. I was being, I wouldn't say challenged, but I was being encouraged to take more of a, I would say a manly role, right? To learn how to lead more. And which I thought was very important, because there were some things that I did need to start taking lead on when it came to the household and understanding what male headship is. What is biblical headship? You see what I'm saying? I started learning all of that stuff, and I was just like, man, this just seems like this is some that's totally different. Like I was never taught any of this stuff. So I will say that he does have a point, and I know that I'm trying to see if I can pronounce your name. Guyon? I think it's Gyson. All right, so I'm gonna call you Gyson. Your mama name you Gyson? I'm gonna call you Gyson. But anyway, but yeah, that's a problem that I did have as well when it came to a lot of mega churches, big churches. And even with the Protestant church, some people are so focused on trying to look like the world instead of trying to be set apart. That's the problem that I have. That's a huge problem that I do have in the modern church. All right.
The Catholic Church can learn from the Protestantism is how to preach in a way that really hits viscerally with an audience.
The plain speaking of the preaching, I do think that's very helpful, specifically.
And that's the key. That's the key. It's the plain teaching and preaching of the word. And this is one of the reasons why I do what I do, is that when I'm dealing with Roman Catholics and Orthodox, anybody that's on my channel, I try to make this stuff not just palatable, but I try to explain a lot of these things on a level that just about anybody can understand. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I mean, they're basically admitting it to you. It's not me just saying this, but the guy's basically saying that, well, both of them are saying that they like the way that the word is being brought to them in a plain manner. And a lot of Roman Catholics don't want to admit this, but yeah, this happens a lot, where a lot of Roman Catholics are just like, especially those who leave Roman Catholicism and then they go to Protestantism. One of the things that they say all the time is that, hey, I mean, I didn't feel like I was that close to Jesus. I didn't feel like I was getting the word. I didn't feel like I was getting the gospel. So now you think about it, how many of these Roman Catholics and Orthodox are actually sitting in their churches longing and yearning for the gospel and just hoping that somebody can be able to just come along and give them the gospel message plainly. And they're not finding that, and this is why on this channel, I like to engage with Roman Catholics and Orthodox, and I like to put stuff out there to show them that there's more to that Bible than just a bunch of tradition and rituals and all of that stuff. Like, the gospel message is way more deeper than that. It's a simple message to understand and to grasp, but it is a lot deeper. And I mean, it deals with sin. It deals with you as the sinner, and it shows you how you need to repent, or you will face eternal judgment, like how God just doesn't wink at sin, and how he does not want your rituals. He does not want your sacrifices, and he doesn't want all of the vanity. Like, he is the Lord of all. Okay? Like, he created everything. Sis Kanisa says she loves the channel. Thank you, sis. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Go ahead and give her a horn hand clap. Who else love the channel? Go ahead and type a 1 if you love the channel. But this is why me and people like Sister Kanisha, who's in the chat, and others, this is why we do this, because we want to show people, not just Roman Catholics and Orthodox, but people who are caught up in stuff like Mormonism and Islam and Jehovah's Witnesses and all of that stuff, to let people know like there's more to Christ's completed work on the cross than just saying it. You see what I'm saying? Father Rome says he loved the channel too. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead and give him all the hand clap too. All right, let's get back to this.
This last one where the pastor was emphasizing why Christmas is important and bringing it back to the center and making it about Jesus.
Right.
I do actually really appreciate that. Like I was telling you off camera, I went 26 years as a Catholic without ever knowing that Christ is God. Grown up in a Protestant church, I feel like that message will be pretty clear. A Catholic listening to this might be like, you're an idiot.
Hey, I may need to bring that back. I may need to bring that back. I want y'all to listen to what he said and hear him good. Hear him real good. All right, here we go.
Why Christmas is important and bringing it back to the center and making it about Jesus.
Right.
I do actually really appreciate that. Like I was telling you off camera, I went 26 years as a Catholic without ever knowing that Christ is God. Grown up in a Protestant church, I feel like that.
Wow. Wow. He said that he went to church for 26 years without knowing that Christ is God. Now, it's interesting that he says that because Roman Catholics charge us with that all the time. They say that us as Protestants, we don't teach that Jesus is God. We don't believe that Jesus is God. A lot of us don't know the Trinity. But here you got a guy, a Roman Catholic, who is admitting that he went to the Roman Catholic Church for 26 years before he even knew that Jesus was God. And then he says that he believes that if he went to a Protestant church, it wouldn't have taken that long. In a nutshell. So then the question has to be, why is he still in the Roman Catholic Church? You know? So it seems like that he's letting you know that the messages are different in the Protestant versus the Roman Catholic Church. You see what I'm saying? This is why it's important. This is why I tell people, do not put this down. Do not put this word down. This is the most important thing that we can have, that we possess. It's the most important thing. Don't put it down. More than ever, people need the word of God. And I know it sounds cliche and it sounds preachy and all of that stuff. Do not put it down. Do not put it down. There's a lot of people out there. And how many Roman Catholics are sitting in the churches just like him? How many have been in the church longer than him and they still don't understand that Jesus is God? How many people? How many people are sitting in Roman Catholic churches like him and they don't fully understand the gospel? You see what I'm saying? So these are things that we have to talk about, you know. Just like Geisen says, he says, you will pry our Bibles out of our cold dead hands. I'm going to give him B3 for that. Hey, I'm telling you. Yeah, that's all we got, y'all. I'm telling you, the Bible that's all we got. And for us to really just, you know, that's why it's just mind-boggling to me to when I see people who veer away from you know, they claim that they left the Protestant church. They claim they used to be Reformed and this, that, and the third. And then they say that they went into something more ancient. They went into the Roman Catholic and Orthodox churches, and now they just, you know, just put the Bible down. Have no regard for it. Don't even believe that is the sole infallible rule of faith for the believer. And I'm just like, I just don't know how you could call yourself a believer and then come to that conclusion. I just don't think that when people who run the Orthodoxy and run the Roman Catholicism and they come to that conclusion, I don't believe that those people were actually sold out for Christ in the first place, in my honest opinion. All right, let's listen to the last of this.
That message will be pretty clear. A Catholic listening to this might be like, you're an idiot. You can walk into the Catholic Church, you see Christ on the cross, everything's about Jesus, they're just talking about it, but you know, at the end of the day, that was my experience. So I'm speaking from my personal.
A lot of people are like that.
Yeah,
A
100%.
lot of people are like
Yeah.
that. The way that I look at it is two things. One, the Sunday service for me is the cherry on top. That is not the meat and bones of my faith. Because while we were driving there, you're like, yeah, but what if you go to this church and you get tired of the pastor? My faith is not on the pastor. My faith is, am I reading the Bible? Am I loving my wife? Am I loving my kids? Am I living out the mission that Jesus called me? Am I learning? Am I worshiping? Am I praying? Am I giving? Yeah, sometimes the music might not hit, the preaching might be flat, but I'm going there to worship God, pray, thank him, communicate with him, and then go back to the normal world and try to live.
And again, that's another important thing that he brings up. You know, the church is not our lives. We don't strive, so therefore we could try to look good for the church. And that's one of the issues that I do see with a lot of people who have left Protestantism and they've went to Roman Catholicism and Orthodoxy. It's because it seems that they're looking for a community, that they're looking to be a part of some community, that they don't really care too much about God's word. They don't really care too much about being that sacrifice that is unblemished and unstained from the world. That they're looking for something that is going to affirm them in their sin. You see what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, even by talking like this, a lot of people who are Roman Catholic and Orthodox, they get offended at stuff like this. They get pretty offended by when you have these type of conversations and you talk like this, because it cuts right to the bone. Like, we're dealing exactly with what we see. So a lot of these people, again, they just want to be a part of a community. And that's why when you engage a lot of Roman Catholics and Orthodox, especially the ones online, I mean, some of them have the most foul language. You know, some of those folks be threatening to dox you. I done had a couple of people threaten to dox me. You know what I'm saying? You know, threaten to call my job and all of this stuff here. Threaten to find out where I live. And I'm just like, bro, I'm just out here online talking about the Bible, talking about the faith, and where I disagree with yours. Crash out and manifest. They can't handle it. And you can't tell me that a person who believed that they were already saved and then went to the Roman Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church, and now all of a sudden, you know, they now have the fullness of the faith, but it seems like that you done kind of regressed. Now it seems like that you done took a step backwards. You wasn't doing all of that cursing and all of that stuff while you claimed that you was in the Protestant church. Now you mean to tell me that you're going to go to the Roman Catholic and the Orthodox Church where that's supposed to be okay? Is that okay now? Is that okay? You know? Follow Rome says, low law outs, and how dare they? Yeah, people try to dox me, but, you know, listen, I'm covered by the blood. The blood, the precious blood. Can't stop my joy devil. Can't stop my joy devil. All right, let's get back to this.
My mission. The lesson I want people to gather from this all is don't miss the forest for the trees.
Yep, absolutely.
Church is not about us. We're going there to serve and to love and to be with God.
Yeah.
So you might go to mass and it's boring. You might go to your normal service and somebody gets on your nerves. But if you're going into it with that mindset that it's about you,
right,
you're starting off on a bad foot.
Right.
All right, and that is the end of that video. All right, that's the end of that video. Follow Rome says, we're looking at you, Samuel. Well, grace and peace, Sister Chikuni. Grace and peace, Sister Chikuni. Sister Violet up in the house of the Berean Babes podcast. Listen, you guys need to go and subscribe to Sister Berean Babes. She got some really great work, excellent work that she does on her channel. Talking about a lot of stuff that's happening in the current state of the church. All right. Let me see. Sister Kanisha says, this one popular, disrespectful RCC told me the other day after cussing someone out, I'll do penitence and I'll be fine. I'm good. I'm good. I can repent for it later. I've heard it. I've heard of that too. I've heard people say that, and I'm just like, I can tell that that these people do not understand the gospel. And to me, that's the most concerning. It's not because, they believe that Mary is perpetual virgin, and, they may believe that Mary is bodily assuming into heaven, but, a lot of these people do not know the gospel. And I'm not trying to say that just to be insulting, but they really don't. Just talk to them long enough. Grace and peace, John Kim, for showing up. Grace and peace, grace and peace. So yeah, man, I'm trying to figure this stuff out with the stream. Let me do this. Because somebody was asking for the link last time, and I want to see if I can. Hold on once. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can put the link out there. Let me see something. Let me try to put it here. Put it here in YouTube. Grace and peace to everybody that is showing up. Listen, man, I see that there are a lot of people that are live right now. I think JP and HHS, they're about to go to like a different stream, do some stuff. CK is live. He don't went live early. I know CK usually go live around like 8, 9 o'clock my time. I'm on the East Coast. Grace and peace, Angie. Grace and peace, Sister Angie. So yeah, so now, so it seems like everybody is kind of live right now. So I think this is kind of a perfect time for me to do this part of the stream, to where I did want to cover that video with Alex, Voice of Reason. Father Rome says, I skipped logic for you. Listen, man. Ooh. Oh, I hope it was worth it. You talking about God logic? Rome, you talking about God logic? So he skipped logic for me. All right. Yeah, man, it's just like so much, man. It's so many people going live today. That's why, to be honest, if you guys notice, I usually don't go live on Fridays, because it seems like that's the time where a lot of people do go live. I usually kind of fall back and I work on some other stuff. And that's why I kind of save my live streams for Saturday, because it seems like that you do have a couple of people who do go live on Saturdays, but not too many, and it's kind of the perfect time for me to do my whole my live panel discussion, which is one of the reasons why I'm trying to set this up and make sure that is right, because I am going to try to do my live panel discussion tomorrow. So I'm going to try to do my live panel discussion tomorrow, and I want to make sure that everything is okay. Rome says, I don't usually do that, bruv. That's what I'm talking about. Bruv. It says, but I appreciate your lives, and I can always catch you. Yeah. You can always catch the replays and stuff. I usually leave my stuff up. I don't, I don't usually set my lives to private or anything like that. I always try to keep everything going. So, but yeah, those panel discussions, a lot of people do show up for that. And I'm just trying to find a way to, how we do that? Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to, perfect this one. And that's why, for the past few streams, I've been trying to figure this stuff out, man. Really, really trying to figure this stuff out. Let me see. So yeah, I mean, for actually, I think I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end this stream. All right, so I'm gonna end the stream, but I'm gonna do another test stream. So I'm going to immediately do a test stream right after this. Sister Kanisha said, "What system did I get?" Now I'm running OBS. I'm running the OBS Studio, and I'm using Restream right now. I was using StreamYard, but StreamYard doesn't integrate with OBS the way that I wanted to integrate. Like I can I can stream from OBS. I can stream to StreamYard through OBS. That's the way I was doing it. But however, I wanted to be able to stream from OBS to StreamYard, and I can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So, so now I'm kind of figuring out how to do all of this stuff. Because like right now on the, let me see, on the left side, I guess, well, actually, I think that'll be like on the right side. So on the right side of you guys, I'm supposed to have, all of the comments and stuff showing up here, but it ain't showing up. So I got to try to figure out what's going on. So I'm trying to figure out, what's going on. Yeah. She says, that's the problem I've been having at StreamYard too. I have OBS. Yeah. And that's the thing too. And then StreamYard, it's gotten like pretty expensive. When I first started using StreamYard, I think it was like $20, and then it went to 40. And then like 6 months later, that mug went to like, it's like $90. So I mean, it's pretty high. It's high up there, but Restream is only like half the price, So, and it has a lot of the functions that I like, and it almost has the same amount of functions that StreamYard has. Now, of course, they got a couple of things that they may have that Restream doesn't have, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot more expensive. Yeah, she was saying I'm paying $100 a month. Yeah, that is crazy. Bruh. That's about how much I was paying for StreamYard. I think it was like 89 something. And then of course I'm paying for the Adobe, which is like another $70. What else am I paying for? It's a few other things that I'm paying for when it comes to, like these streams and all of that stuff. That's why I really, appreciate y'all supporters. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the super chats, all of that stuff. It helps out. She says, you will like Ecamm, but the only thing about Ecamm is only for Apple users. So, you got to have an Apple product, because that's what I wanted to use first. I wanted to use Ecamm, but I couldn't use Ecamm because, I'm only on PC, Windows, right? So I can't use Ecamm with Windows. So, yeah, she says, yeah, people don't realize how much you spend to do all of this. Yeah, seriously. And trust me, I ain't doing it for the money, because the little bit of money that I get back, I'll be I'll be glad to break even. Bruh. I'll be glad to break even. I think that the amount of money that, I do get for the month, because I think that it's like every 30 days, every 30 days, you get the payout from YouTube. And whenever I get that paid, I mean, shoot, that probably maybe pays for half of the stuff, the money that I'm putting back into StreamYard. Like I said, I got StreamYard, I got Canva that I'm paying for, I got Envato Elements, Envato Stream. What else? I mean, it's just a whole. I'm paying for maybe about 4 or 5 things, and the thing is that I can't cut any of it out, because if I do, then I'm not going to be able to, continue to produce streams. You know what I'm saying? Like just doing the basic live streams that I was doing, I won't be able to do that. But the Lord has blessed me with a pretty good job, so I mean, I ain't tripping. I'm not here. I'm definitely not here to make money. Because if I was here to make money, my content would be a heck of a lot different. Trust me, it'll be a heck of a lot different. But I'm not here to do this for money. That's why I don't stream all the time, because I'm not trying to gain money. I do like my peace. I do like being able to come home and just be like, you know what, I'll just play some games with the kids. Or, I'll read a book. Actually, my wife just got me this book, and she didn't even realize, but this was a gem. All right. Let me see. Okay, this is called Presuppositional Apologetics. All right. So it's from Greg L. Bonson. Trying to see if I can get y'all to see that. Greg L. Bonson. And this is, he's basically teaching you how to defend the faith. All right. Now, I came across presuppositional apologetics maybe about 10 to 15 years, not 15, but roughly around 10 years ago. I started being turned on to presuppositional apologetics. And basically what presuppositional apologetics is showing you how to argue, or showing you that whenever a person does not start with God as the foundation of their argument for their worldview, you have to be able to show them why having a solid foundation or starting with God is the only way that you can have a coherent argument against any other worldview. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, Sister Violet says, yeah, Bonson was a beast. Yeah, he was. Greg Bonson was a beast, and I got turned on to him from a guy named Seitan Bruggencate. All right, so Seitan Bruggencate, I've connected with him a couple of times. Great guy, and he used to go out on college campuses and used to be debating all of the college students, the atheist college students, and all of that stuff. And I actually have an interview with Seitan Bruggencate on my channel. All right, but he's like well connected with Jeff Durbin and James White and all of those types of guys, and so he's I don't know if he's doing much. I don't know if he's doing much ministry right now, but I haven't seen him do anything. I haven't seen him doing the things that he was doing, back in the day. So, but that's how I got turned on to presuppositional apologetics, and that's how I got turned on to Greg Bonson. So I'm trying to, get into this book. And that's why sometimes I'm like, you know what, let me just start reading some books, reading some pages or some chapters or something. That's why I feel like that. I don't feel like I want to stream all the time. Yeah, Sister Kanisha says she's trying to get her book game up. I got quite a few books. Hold on one second. Yeah, so this is my new book. Of course I got some books back here. I got Vodi Bakkum's book, Fault Lines. This is another one, Not Like Being Black. That was his last book that he dropped before he died. Of course I got Scripture Alone by James White. Go to give B3 for that. And then I got the 1689 London Baptist Confession. This also has the Baptist Catechism and the church discipline right here. Go ahead and get the light off of that. So yeah, I picked that up at a conference last year. Yeah, Sister Violet says, what's his name? Sai stepped down from ministry. Yeah, he did step back. I don't know what happened. Maybe you probably know a little bit more than what I do. But yeah, he did step down because I don't know what it was, what he did. But yeah, he ended up stepping down. And but yeah, I don't think that he's doing much. I mean, if he does something in the ministry, it's probably something local, because he was traveling between here and Canada. So yeah, that is that. All right, cool. So like I said, let me go ahead and do this. I am going to end this. I'm going to end this live stream, and then I'm going to set up another one for test. And I'm just going to try to reset all of my stuff. Because I want to see if because it seems like that everything is still not integrating and connecting. So I'm trying to figure out like what's going on, because it seems like that I don't have I don't have certain features that I want from Restream, and I'm trying to see, do I got to pay that money? All right. Do I got to pay the money, upgrade just a little bit more, or is it just something that I ain't doing? All right. because I'm like, man, listen, restream. Don't try to nickel and dime me, because if y'all nickeling and diming me, I mean, rather go back to StreamYard. Don't want to go back to StreamYard. But don't test me. All right. All right, Sister Kanisha said that she is going to be waiting. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, and y'all give me like 5 minutes or so until I set everything up, clear everything out, and then try to go live again. All right. See y'all in a minute.